More breaking news tonight in a major case against the former president that's turning into a major mess. Late today in Atlanta, Fulton County Commissioner launched a probe into allegations that District Attorney Fani Willis misused county funds and, quote, accepted valuable gifts and personal benefits from the special prosecutor that she hired to prosecute the case. His name is Nathan Wade.
They're not going to. Let me correct that, because Merrick Garland's in part of the...
Yeah, he's exactly right. Another good point made by my friend here, Doug. They could go ahead and open an investigation on the federal level, but they're not going to do that because, of course, Joe Biden, the Democrats, are in power in the White House, the executive branch, and Merrick Garland, the guy that is running the Department of Justice, Garland does not want anything to do with it. All right, my friends, J.R. Dukes back with you. Appreciate you joining me. I want to welcome all my free-minded friends out there. We are still hammering this Fani Willis case, the Fulton County DA out of Atlanta, Georgia, who has decided to bring a Rico action, a nutty, crazy Rico action against our former president, Donald Trump, in an attempt, in my opinion, to stop him from becoming our next president of the United States. And we are going to expose this unfolding corruption case as far as Fani Willis, Nathan Wade, and her associates are concerned. So there may be a Rico case here, but I don't think it's the one they originally started off with. I think what's unfolding before our very eyes is a Rico class action that should be filed against the Fulton County office. Specifically, you were talking directly about Fani Willis, Nathan Wade, and all the people that are in bed with them, pun intended. So at any rate, I have a great video for us. I also want to talk briefly about what a joke this has become everywhere. So here is an individual that, let me put this up for us. This guy's name is Greg Price. I think he is a journalist, but I'm not sure. At any rate, I love his comment on the X platform. Fani Willis indicted. President Trump hired a lead prosecutor who never tried a felony case that she was sleeping with. She, Fani Willis, paid him nearly $1 million in Georgia tax dollars, and he proceeded to buy plane tickets for vacation in her name. It doesn't get any more comical or corrupt. He actually says comically corrupt. I love it. Right on the money there, Mr. Price. Exactly words that everybody is thinking. What a stupid mistake this woman is making. How can you do anything worse to screw up this case? If you're serious about going after one of the most powerful men in the world, you better have your ducks in a row. As I've been talking about, Fani Willis is well on her way to becoming another person that came up against Donald Trump and ends up in jail, ends up losing their careers, ends up in some kind of serious jeopardy as a result of them coming after former President Trump. Because as it turns out, folks, if you live in a glass house, you should not throw stones. Of course, we all know that, but apparently our beloved prosecutor, Fannie Mae, does not understand this. Folks, I got the video. Let's get into it right now. This is by a guy named, I think it's Doug in Exile. We'll get into his exact name, but this guy really has a fantastic piece put together on this, and we just have to talk about it. So without further ado, here we go.
She's paying this alleged secret unqualified boyfriend $100 more an hour than she's paying an actual Rico expert attorney who she brought in.
That's the first I heard of it, that she has a Rico attorney.
Yeah, it's Doug in Exile. That's this guy's name there. I love this guy. He is pretty good. I like the way he puts his stories together. If you have not heard of his channel, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to swing over to Doug in Exile and give him some props.
On that she's paying less than the guy with no experience.
But if we look at the amount of money that's been paid to these three lawyers over the last 2 years, one of them's made $73,000, one of them's made $90,000, and Mr. Wade has been paid $650,000+. That's an enormous discrepancy. And Anderson, if some of that money is making its way back to the DA, whether through trips or hotel or other entertainment or arrangements, then you have a problem with a conflict of interest.
I totally agree. Not only do you have a problem with a conflict of interest, you have a criminal problem, because what you have is you have by proxy, you have the Fulton County DA, who is in charge of paying the bills of these attorneys. So the bills are coming from taxpayer funds. And as it turns out, published reports have it, it's not just taxpayer money, it's federal taxpayer money, because what she has allegedly done is redirect COVID money from the COVID funds given by the feds. You don't want to screw with the feds, if you know what I'm talking about. She took the money from the COVID account and paid it allegedly to her boyfriend slash lover slash main prosecutor going after Donald Trump. She said that there was no difference between any of these individuals, and as it turns out, she lied about that too. It's very obvious, it's very evident that he was paid 2 to 3 times more than any of the other so-called prosecutors on this case. You know, Fani, if you're going to lie about something, you need to do the following. Don't lie about something that can be proven. It's really just that simple.
She paid her boyfriend, this alleged secret boyfriend, to meet with the Biden White House, including the White House counsel, before Fani Willis brought this unprecedented indictment against President Trump. And
So this is the sequence of illegal events. She meets with the Biden White House. She hires this lawyer the day after he files for divorce. That divorce is going to play into this big time too, that timing. Because technically, if he got hired by her, then that becomes part of the divorce split, what she paid him.
Marjorie Taylor Greene sent a criminal.
That's exactly right, Doug. I could not say it better myself. Not only is this part of the marital estate, the money that Mr. Wade was paid by Fani Willis, the allegations in the latest papers to come out from his soon-to-be ex-wife Jocelyn Wade is that basically Fani, you got the DA, Fani Willis allegedly has been spending her money. No wonder why she's upset. So, of course, you're going to have the soon-to-be ex-wife coming after her soon-to-be ex-husband hard, and the mistress, a.k.a. Fani Willis, she's going to get to the bottom of this.
Referral to Governor Brian Kemp and Attorney General Chris Carr in Georgia. Kemp and Carr have the statutory authority, the statutory duty, actually, to open a criminal investigation on Fani Willis.
Jack Kemp is dragging his feet. Some say because of he's corrupt. I don't believe it's because he's corrupt. I believe it's because he is overly cautious, cowardly.
Doug, I agree with you on almost everything, and you may be right once again on this particular matter, but I can tell you the reason, in my opinion, why the governor, Brian Kemp of Georgia, is not going after this DA prosecutor, Fani Willis, as hard as he could, and why he's dragging his feet on opening the criminal investigation that has been requested in writing by this Taylor Greene representative from the state of Georgia. And the reason is the following. If you think back to the January 6th so-called insurrection, if you think back way back to this time frame, the current governor, he was in the middle of all of this. Brian Kemp was hammered, if you will, by Donald Trump, along with, what was that other guy's name? The Secretary of State that he was talking to, that Brad Rothenberg, something to that effect. If you know the names, you can put them in the comments below for the benefit of everybody. But here's the bottom line. When all this came down, when all this was unfolding, when this whole scheme was taking place, if you will, the time Donald Trump called in and said, please find these votes, that was the word he used, find. There's nothing wrong with the word find. That's a subject for another day. The bottom line is this. He made a de facto enemy in Brian Kemp, the governor, which is not really a good thing. So even though these individuals are Republican and Donald Trump's a Republican, the fact is the state level Republicans have a long memory, and they are not as happy as they could be with our beloved President Donald Trump. That's my opinion as to why they're dragging their feet, but we'll just have to wait and see.
I think that people need to light up Governor Kemp and Attorney General Chris Carr's office and tell them to open this criminal investigation.
Call Jack Kemp's, if you're in Georgia, call Jack Kemp's office and tell him to launch the investigation. This is backed up by Marjorie Taylor Greene. They'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Amen.
And increased allocation for these special prosecutors to hire them on in the first place of taxpayer money. Isn't that right?
That's exactly right. Now, she apparently used federal COVID funds to pay this secret boyfriend.
Okay, that's the first I heard that she used COVID funds from the federal government to pay for Nathan Wade. Now that becomes a federal crime, and now the government can get involved, and they're going to.
More breaking news tonight in the major case against the former president that's turning into a major mess. Late today in Atlanta, a Fulton County commissioner launched a probe into allegations that District Attorney Fani Willis misused county funds and, quote, accepted valuable gifts and personal benefits from the special prosecutor that she hired to prosecute the case. His name is Nathan Wade.
They're not going to. Let me correct that, because Merrick Garland's in charge of the Department of Justice. And why in the world would he do that when he could end all of these investigations?
Yeah, he's exactly right. Another good point made by my friend here, Doug. They could go ahead and open an investigation on the federal level, but they're not going to do that because, of course, Joe Biden, the Democrats, are in power in the White House, the executive branch, and Merrick Garland, the guy that is running the Department of Justice, Garland does not want anything to do with this case. He wants Trump taken down by all measures possible. They are not interested in justice. They're interested in lawfare. They're interested in what they've been accusing Donald Trump of, which is election interference. All they want is to get Trump, in the famous words of the great Alan Dershowitz. So that is exactly what is transpiring, folks. This hole is getting deeper and deeper and deeper for the Democrats and Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. There is so much to stay on top of with this story. Obviously, there are some very tight ties between the White House directly and this case when it was brought. As you heard Doug talk about earlier, that they have verifiable records where attorney Nathan Wade, the prosecutor slash boyfriend slash lover of Fani Wade, went to the White House, met with White House personnel. They're still trying to verify exactly who he met with. It's been published that he was there for at least 2 full days. So you know, and I know, in all likelihood, Joe Biden and his fingerprints are all over this. They are all in bed together, literally, and they're colluding together to stop Donald Trump. This should not be allowed in our great country. We are too good for this, and these idiots are messing up our country. They're turning us into a de facto banana republic if you and I do not stop this. This is not funny. This is not the way it is supposed to work out. Nowhere can you have a country to where you can have the party in power taking out their main rival. This is stuff they literally do in Russia. I had another video not long ago that I'm showing that Putin is doing this today. They had a candidate, a female candidate that wanted to run, and they just said, no, you're not eligible, and they took her off the ballot. Another candidate, the one he tried to poison on an airplane, well, he lived, so what did they do when he come back to Russia? He's now in a prison north of the Arctic Circle, freezing his you-know-what off, if he's not being tortured and dead by now. This is what these type of countries do. This is not what we do. This is abhorrent, and it's shameful. Folks, please, don't buy the indoctrination. If you know anybody that benefit from this message, please send them a copy. Share this video with them. If you're still with me, hit the like button, the thumbs up. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe so you can be apprised as the videos come out. And I'll be having another one coming out very shortly, especially if you hit that subscribe button. You'll know all about it. Hey, it's my pleasure to come chat with you. As I always say, keep that mind free. Never give up. And until next time, my friends, I am J.R. Dukes.